Moving on now to our other top focus in this edition, two stories of families whose fate is entangled in legal litigations. First one from the northern Indian city of Amritsar, where two Pakistani sisters are set to be freed, having spent 11 years in jail. Another, in sharp contrast, is of an Indian prisoner, Hamid Ansari, languishing in a Pakistani jail for 5 years now. Islamabad has refused to remit his sentence. He has also been denied consular access. Fatima and her sister Mumtaz will be stepping out of jail in Amritsar on the 2nd of November after spending a decade behind bars. The Pakistani citizens were caught from Atari railway station in 2007 for possession of drugs. A Punjab-based NGO worked with the Indian government to release the sisters and Fatima's daughter, who was born while she was in jail, and return them to Pakistan. But while Fatima and Mumtaz have reason to cheer, the Ansari family in India's Mumbai lives in despair. The fate of their son, Hamid Ansari, has been hanging in the balance for 5 years now. Hamid left home in 2012 and told his family he was going to Kabul in search of a job. But he went untraceable shortly after. 5 years later, he has been found inside the Mardan Central Jail in Pakistan, fighting for his freedom and facing charges of espionage. Hamid's family has been going from pillar to post, trying to at least get access to him, but Pakistan continues to look the other way. Hamid Ansari's case highlights the brazenness of human rights abuses in Pakistan. Islamabad's authorities went to great lengths to hide Ansari from public view. Even rights groups in Pakistan have begun rallying support for him.
He has been a very kind person, very social, very noble. He was associated with Rotary, with WION, and very helpful to one and all. And he went to Pakistan. That is really a tragic situation for us, but he has gone with good intention. He was friendly with people of Pakistan, and he was more friendly with a girl who was more close to him and was facing some social problem. He wanted to save her, to protect her, to meet her, and for that he was helped by some his friends of Pakistan who invited him, kept him in their house for 2 days, and later shifted him in a hotel. And after that, he went missing. For 3.5 years, there was no whereabouts known about him, where he is, in what condition he would be. But thanks to my government, thanks to the journalists of Pakistan, and thanks to the jury, the Supreme Court of Pakistan's the Human Rights Cell, and all those who helped us, and his whereabouts are known. Now, I can only appeal. I don't know how to say words. I don't find that I can pour my heart in words, but I can only say that 5 years is a long time. Though my government is doing their best efforts, I have faith in judiciary. I have faith my lawyers and everyone. At all, I met good people. Their efforts will really bear fruit, and he will be back. I appeal everyone. I appeal the government of Pakistan, the judiciary, and even everyone, that please help me to get my son back. I just can't bear more. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Not either Indian agent, Ava agent. He is not indulged in any interstate activity. This is what I'm saying. It was his love affair. It's a common man could do it. Any man could do it. He was a young man.
He is caged in a country where the government itself is the biggest lawbreaker, and military kangaroo courts rule the arbitrary justice system. There is little hope of justice, but his friends and family have not given up the fight.
consular access was not given. If you are going to follow the procedure, then why can't you give consular access to the country of origin, the country that person belongs to? It's not like with consular access they can evade the process of law in Pakistan. The consular access only ensures that the person is given a free and fair trial.
Let's take a step back and also bring further perspective into this developing story. Joining us from Islamabad is Dr. Farzana Bari, who is a human rights activist. Also joining us from Delhi is Mr. Vivek Karju, who is a former Indian diplomat. Coming to you first, Mr. Karju, what do you make of this rather sharp contrast that emerges from these two stories? Hamid Ansari continues to languish in a Pakistani jail for 5 years. The family makes desperate appeals, while two Pakistani sisters, after serving their time, are all set to walk back home to Pakistan.
The Indian courts have insisted that any foreigner or any Indian who has served his or her sentence has to be released. Now, therefore, the two sisters, I presume, would have served their sentence and are going back. However, in Pakistan, they still seem to be reluctant, the military authorities especially, to follow the law. And therefore, they devise ways and means to keep cases relating to Indians out of the normal civilian courts. I think that is what has happened in this particular case of Hamid Ansari. Because you would notice that he was tried by an army court on espionage charges, and the interesting thing is that he was kept in custody without any acknowledgement, even though the Pakistan judiciary was asking them for a period of 3 years. It is after 3 years that they acknowledged that yes, he is in their custody, and then they said that he has been tried and convicted for espionage. Now, normally, the period of custody has to be taken into account when a sentence is seen, which means that if he's been convicted for 3 years, as sentenced for 3 years after conviction, as in this case, and he was in custody earlier for 3 years, he should have been released, because in effect he has served a sentence. But I've seen a Pakistani newspaper account which says that when this matter was agitated before one of the Pakistani high courts, I think the Islamabad High Court, they washed their hands away and they said this is between the military authorities and the jail authorities. Now this is a strange situation. He should be released forthwith, because even if this trumped up charge, this concoction is taken into account, he has served a sentence.
Ms. Bari, would you like to come in here? He should be released immediately, is the word coming in from Mr. Karju. Will Pakistan do so?
I think as far as law is concerned, first of all, obviously, I think anybody who enters into any country without visa, obviously, this is a criminal act. And especially, I think, in view of the lack of trust between India and Pakistan, obviously, if anybody cross borders, we see even people, fishermen who just by mistake, cross those boundaries in the sea, they also suffer. So I think this is the fundamentally distrust between the two states, and the people of both countries are suffering. I think legally, as far I'm concerned, he has been given a sentence, because I think his case was he was tried under military court, and I think the charges were framed as espionage, and therefore I feel that maybe it's the civil courts will have difficulty now to overrule. So as far as his sentence is concerned, once he has, basically spent that much time in jail.
We're talking about a man. The government of Pakistan has taken 5 years to even acknowledge his presence there, refusing consular access to Mr. Ansari. Mr. Karju also wants to come in here. Mr. Karju, go ahead.
Look, even in cases where the charge is espionage, my experience has been that the country which is supposed to have sent the spy refuses to acknowledge him. In this particular case, there is no such provision. There is no such circumstance. So if the Indian authorities are asking for consular access, why should Pakistan deny it? They say that he has been convicted on espionage charges. Okay. Then now if he had his passport, then there would be a clear case of his identity being established. If supposing the Pakistanis need to ask the Indians to establish his identity, consular access is necessary. So, in effect, what is happening is that Pakistan's military is acting in a very callous manner. Even if I grant this, that he had entered without a visa, and therefore under the immigration laws of Pakistan, he could have been tried. But he has been tried, he has been sentenced. Now the question is whether that sentence, the period of custody should be taken into account. In the normal circumstance, under Pakistani law, it is to be taken into account. That is something which is there in Pakistani laws and statutes itself. So why is not the law being applied in Pakistan? Is Pakistan a lawless state?
Yes, Ms. Bari would like to respond.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Kaju, just hold that thought, Ms. Bari. And also, are we not looking at, as a human rights activist, do you not feel there have been several violations at multiple levels of human rights here? Why has Pakistan shied away from granting consular access to Mr. Ansari?
Look, I think I'm familiar with this case, and as for there has been a lot of civil society pressure, that in this case all the rules should be followed. And I totally agree with Kanju that this is the law of the land, that if he has already spent that much time in the jail, he should be released. And the consular's access, I think, is kind of, as far as Pakistan, India is concerned, I think we should make it as a rule that anybody who get arrested in either of the country, I think they should have a consular access, because as I said earlier on, a lot of time when people are innocently crossing border for whatever reasons, I don't know, in this particular case, maybe it's a matter of heart, I'm not sure, but however, I think it should be bilaterally decided that both countries, that their citizens should have access to the consular. So I totally agree there, because I know the people from both countries suffer, and they are languished in jail for years and years. And as for this is concerned, I think a lot of, I know personally there are civil society organizations involved. They've been raising issues, I would like to assure the family that we'll also make sure, put pressure that whatever the his right is, in the sense that he should be released if that is what is the civil court has decided. So certainly, I think it's not that as if Pakistani civil society and human rights community is oblivious to this situation. And I think the very fact that his information was not shared earlier on was also that is being criticized by the civil society in Pakistan, that if you have arrested somebody, even in the case of espionage, I mean, people, their family have the right to know where the person is, living or has been arrested, or where that person's whereabouts.
Sure, Mr. Kaju wants to come in, and also here, Mr. Kaju, is an assurance enough?
Look, in the normal case, charges of espionage are tried in the civil courts. That is what is the usual thing. In this case, the very fact that after 3 years, the charges are being tried in an army court itself is indicative that the evidence would not have held in a civil court, evidence against Ansari. So therefore, that in itself is suspicious. And it is obviously a trumped-up charge. Now Pakistan's army must do the honorable thing and release him. After all, here's a young man. What is he guilty of? Okay, he is guilty of breaking Pakistan's immigration laws. He's paid a price for it. And as for consular access, let me tell you that there is a set procedure between India and Pakistan for granting consular access. And it is an exercise that is done routinely. In this particular case, the interesting part is that he has been convicted. After that, he must be produced before the Indian consular authorities.
Right, Mr. Bari,
They
we're
were
running out of
acknowledging.
time. I'll allow you just 1 minute to come in here and respond, and we're going to wrap this up.
As far as the military court in Pakistan is concerned, the Pakistan Parliament has given this, approved that the military force will operate, for a temporarily, for a certain time period, and a situation like a case like that, which does comes under, because as I said, it is fundamentally the lack of distrust between the two countries. So this case has been handled as under espionage, or they were suspecting, and so it comes under kind of a terrorism and all that, and the military courts has been given this kind of a right to operate by the parliament in Pakistan.